tonight we thought we'd do a little drive, and I would play the audio from one of the strangest missing person cases I've ever heard. I mean, you don't hear about the Green Berets being sent in on too many missing person cases. This audio is from Art Bell with the Dave Pallades episode, and I think he pronounces his name different, but Art pronounces it Pallades, so we're going to go with that. He does it for the entire show. We're just going to do the Dennis Martin segment. If you want to hear the entire show, I'll link you to the entire show in the comments and the description below as well. And we want to thank everyone who came over and subbed the driver formerly known as James's new channel. She appreciates it very much. Right?
Yes.
All right, guys. So we're just going to drive around, and we're going to play this audio from the Art Bell show over the top. So enjoy.
It's not radio, but it is what's next, exclusively on the Dark Matter Digital Network, Midnight in the Desert, with Art Bell. Now, here's Art.
Here I am again. David Pallades is my guest. And, David, let me ask you a couple of things they're asking me. Josh says, ask him about the case of Dennis Martin in the Smoky Mountains and what he was told by Dennis's father about the FBI agent on the case. Does that resonate?
Oh, yeah. This is a lengthy story.
We have time.
Hadn't planned on talking about it, but I'll be glad to.
Okay.
Dennis was a 6-year-old boy, and he and his dad, his grandpa, and his brother went up to a location in Great Smoky Mountains National Park called Spence Field. It was Father's Day in the early 60s, and they were camping out, and during the day, the kids and the grandpa and the dad were playing and having fun. They were sitting at a corner of the park up near the edge of the forest in this big field, and they were running around, and this other family comes up to them and asks Mr. Martin if the kids could play together.
Sure.
And he said, absolutely, this is great. And the other man leans down and introduces himself, and his last name was Martin as well, which is quite a coincidence.
It is.
And the kids start playing together, and they decide they're going to play hide and seek. And, you know, one guy's looking, and all the kids run off and hide. And Mr. Martin said that he watched his son Dennis go behind a tree right at the edge of the meadow. And after everybody said come out, Dennis didn't come out. And Mr. Martin said he got up, never took his eyes off the tree, walked towards it. His son wasn't there. Well, right next to this tree was the Appalachian Trail. He said that he ran nonstop for 2 miles down that trail and never found his son, came back, told his dad to go down the hill, get park rangers, and that started one of the biggest searches in that part of the country ever. And it also, that afternoon, it started to rain, and it rained there nonstop for a week and a half. So during the search efforts, the FBI sent an agent to the park to quote-unquote monitor the case.
Mm-hmm.
And he teamed up with another park ranger that monitored the case. Now, at that time, after a couple days, the Green Berets show up via helicopter into the park. They land, they get out, and they set up a base with their own communications. The park rangers come over and say, hey, we could team up together, we could work since we know the park, blah, blah, blah. They said, nope, we work alone. And contrary to what you will hear out there by some people, there was never anything definitive about who called the Green Berets in. Because I have a report that's about 4 inches thick, and I've gone through it 6 times, and nobody wants to stake a claim into who called them and why they were there. 2 times, I've filed Freedom of Information Act requests with the Department of the Army asking for the orders for that Green Beret team on that date. 2 times, Art, I never even got a response. It wasn't a denial.
Yeah, somebody did somebody have a very close, high-placed friend in the military?
If they did, it's not in any report I ever saw. So the Green Beret were there for about a week. They pull out. Mr. Martin never left the park for 6 weeks.
Understand.
Now, as Dennis was disappearing, unbeknownst to anybody at Spence Field, there's a family that's at the bottom of the park that drives in, goes up to a park ranger and says, we want to go to a location where we can see a bear. And the rangers tell them to go to this place called Rowan's Creek. So mom, dad, kids start walking up this pretty rural area, not a real defined trail, up this slow canyon. And as they're getting up there, they hear a scream, defined as a deafening scream. Now, the last name of this family is pretty coincidental as well. Their last name was Key, K-E-Y, and this is the key part of the case. As they're walking up this valley, the younger son says, Dad, look up there. I see a bear on the side of the hill. The father looks up on the hill and says, no, son, that's not a bear. That looks like a man, and he's hiding behind the trees from us. And the family sees this, and this thing is darting behind the tree. You can't see him very well, and eventually takes off. Well, the family goes home, doesn't know a kid's missing. Next day in the Knoxville Times, front page story about a boy disappeared on Spence Field at the exact, well, maybe 45 minutes before these guys walked up this valley. So Mr. Key calls the Park Service and says, I think I may have something for you, and I will come to the park and show you the location where I saw it, and we can see if it makes any sense. Well, the supervising detective for the Park Service at that time calls him back and says, no, don't come to the park. We'll come and we'll meet you halfway. So Mr. Key meets him. Now, this is unusual because when you're a cop, you want to see what the people saw, where they saw it.
You bet.
So this makes no sense. And they met, and that was the end of it. Well, a Knoxville Times reporter happened to hear about this meeting and hear about the observation from the Key family from a family member, not even a source related to the park. And he goes over to Mr. Martin and asks him if he's heard about this. Mr. Martin goes, no one's ever told me about this. He goes over to the search and rescue people and goes, do you know about this? And they go, yeah. But it's not relative to you. Don't worry about it. He goes, no, you promised me everything I would be told. And they go, yeah, but it's impossible. The timelines don't make sense. Well, Dwight McCarter, who's still alive, was the chief tracker for the Park Service. And Mr. Martin went to him and told him, this is the time, this is the place, could it be? And McCarter said, yeah, it's possible. He goes, why don't you and me make that hike tomorrow and see how fast we can make it?
Right.
The next day, Mr. Martin and McCarter make that hike in plenty of time. And Mr. Martin knew then that the Park Service was holding something from him and wasn't telling him the whole story during the entire search effort. Make a longer story very short here. At the end of 6 weeks, eventually everybody pulls out. They don't find anything. Contrary to what you may read somewhere, there was never any evidence Dennis was anywhere. They essentially found nothing to prove he was anywhere in the area they were searching. So about 3 years ago, I went to Knoxville with another investigator, and we went right to Mr. Martin's front door, and we knocked on the door. He's living in the same house he was when his son disappeared. He comes to the front door, and I said, Mr. Martin, you're looking at the guy probably who knows more about your son's case than anybody but you. I came all the way from California. I just want to talk to you for a few minutes. And he said, Dave, my wife and I've promised never to talk about this again. It's ruined our lives. And I said, I've come all this way. Just give me 15 minutes. He goes, you got it. He steps out onto the porch, and we had a very enlightening conversation, one that brought tears to my eyes. I knew this man had been lied to incessantly by the Park Service.
All right.
There was no doubt.
Hold it right there. That's